Yeah, baby! Oh!
Sunday evening, my friends. Phil Friedman here from Friedman Adventures, talking to the El Patron, and they've got a nice shot of bluefin on board so far, and a few nice yellows to go along with it. Nice weather out there on the banks where they're fishing the tuna and getting a good sign. Hopefully, they'll catch even more. Have a great one, everybody. The El Patron operates out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, and they have a slew of 1.5-day trips where you'll fish with only 10 anglers on board. Bluefin tuna fishing, yellowtail fishing is outstanding in Southern California, and there's no better way to do it than on the El Patron. 310-832-8304 or visit 22ndstreet.com.
Everybody, this is such a joyful day because all of the items that we collected and sent to Cedros Island have been handed out, and I cannot thank each and every one of you enough. We literally handed out thousands of pieces of clothing and other essentials to some people who could really use your help. I've got to thank the Friedman Adventures family. That is you, each and every one of you who donated. You made this all possible. Diego Nuno, who is a deckhand on the Royal Star, and his lovely family worked so hard to make this all come together. Ramoncita Higuera from the Abalone Cooperativa, she did so much, including shipping the goods from Ensenada down to Cedros. Ramoncita, mil gracias. And also Phil Capricio, who loaded his yacht full of goods and then transported them over to us so we could truck it all down to this beautiful isla. And also Father, or I should say Padre Saul, down there in the Catholic Church, which was the distribution point for all of these goods. God bless each and every one of you who made this come true, reaching our hands across the border to our brothers and sisters in Mexico to lend a helping hand. I can't express my gratitude enough to you, all of you who helped make this a reality. Take care, my friends. So proud of you. So happy that we were able to accomplish this great deed together.
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, here in Southern California on this glorious Monday morning. I hope you're all doing well. You can see on the lead-in on the American Angler, there's some big bluefin being taken at night. And of course, we're watching this Dorado situation because now we've got Dorado from northern Baja California, the guys down in Ensenada, up here to the LA Orange County area. Phenomenal. It's only going to get better. We're in an El Nino year. That means warm water and more tropical species. When are the yellowfin going to join the picture? It shouldn't be too much longer. Albacore completely out of the picture now. We'll talk a little bit about that. And of course, we've got a lot more to focus on, including squid and maybe more white sea bass coming in the Channel Islands. Full day boats out of San Diego starting to catch again. It's all looking good, even though it's a little gloomy this morning. It's more than bright on the sport fishing scene in SoCal and northern Baja. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh my God, is that good? I hope you're having a cup of coffee here with me this morning. As always, it is a great pleasure to be with you all. Also, we showed you some of the goods and things that were handed out at Cedros Island, all thanks to wonderful, loving, giving, generous people like you. Thank you so very much. And thanks to everybody who made that all possible. And we've got a lot more stuff that we're going to take down across the border when the season calms down a little bit and I'm able to go down and take care of some folks in Tecate, Tijuana, Ensenada. We'll be down there again, all thanks to your generosity. Can't thank you enough. It's so nice to be surrounded by giving, loving people like you. Hey, hit that like button, share these videos, tick that bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. And now well over 10,000 subscribers. Subscribe to the channels. We deeply appreciate that. You can also catch us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, over there on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, we keep up to date with breaking news throughout the day. So make sure you go to Facebook today and join the Friedman Adventures group. That would be fantastic. All right, let's start by mentioning that we've got live squid for you at Catalina Island right now. If you're a private boater and you're headed to Catalina Island, give Pat Whitaker a call on either channel 11, or you can see his phone number there, and get some squid while the getting is good, because he's going to run out here pretty darn quick. At least that's what I surmise from the situation. Pat's there around the casino, I believe, but that's why I want you to check with him to get his exact location. Also, don't forget, on August the 15th, we're on the horizon out of H&M Landing, and it's all kind of playing out the way I thought it might with this El Nino. Now we've got the Dorado. We should add a lot of yellowfin tuna here very, very soon. That bluefin's not going anywhere. It just gives you more variety, more to catch. It should be really good. So don't forget, you can jump on board that. You got to call Captain Bill Wilkerson, and there is his phone number for you also. Give Bill a call. September the 15th, we're on board the El Patron out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. September the 15th. I think there's 4 spots available on that one. All right, let's get into it. And boy, I got to tell you, there's some pretty good fishing at night if you get on the right bunch of fish. Now, there's guys that miss a lot of the times, but there is some really good nighttime fishing on fish from like 80 to 200 pounds in that size range. Of course, you're going to be fishing heavy tackle, 2-speed reels, 100 to 130 pound spectra. I like 200 pound leader material, and those 300 to 400 gram lures have been working really, really well. Knife jigs, those Katy Perry rip rollers have been super effective. Those kinds of jigs are really going to get the job done nicely for you all. And as I say, it's not wide open, but man, if you get the horseshoe with you, you can catch one of those really great, big, beautiful fish. Richard Cayo was on board the El Dorado. Richard is a guy who's just getting into offshore fishing, hasn't been doing it that long, and his progression, and I've been watching it, Richard, man, it's been absolutely fantastic. They had great fishing. He said that they started out on Cortez and Tannerbank by fishing high spots and trying to catch those bigger grade yellowtail, mostly like 20, 25, 30, even bigger than that on the yellows. And he said 30-pound fly line bait with a number 4 hook really worked well. And then they turned their attention to some of that bigger grade tuna, and man, they got in on it. And a friend of his, Jose Estrada, had a 163-pound BFT on the El Dorado fishing at night. He caught that on a 400-gram Katy Perry rip roller, and man, that's a big heart on one of those big tuna. But I got to tell you, Jose was a trooper, and he took a couple of bites out of that, and nice catch indeed, and great going for Richard. Richard said the next day they focused on the smaller grade bluefin tuna. Those fish are mostly 10 to 25 pounds, and again, fishing that lighter fluorocarbon in some cases, 30 pounds, even 25 pound. If you can't get a bite or you're having trouble getting a bite, you drop it down, and that will do you a lot of good. www.opsimusa.com. Put in FA at checkout for a free gift. Pacifica out of San Diego, limits of bluefin tuna. Nice hit for them. Jumping up here to the Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing. They got all over the Dorado yesterday. Just a tick under 50 flatheads the last time we chatted with them. So those Dorado are on kelps right now. And are we going to see a replay of the historic Dorado bite that we saw last year? And my guess is yes. And the reason I say it is because we've got that fish. Actually, I say northern Baja. It goes hundreds of miles down. There's Dorado. Up here into SoCal, warmer water still coming in because of the El Nino. You've got to be looking down the barrel of a similar type of season. And that is what I call fantastic. Seeing those colorful, acrobatic, great eating fish here in Southern California is indeed a blessing, and I can't wait to get out. We've got a couple of trips. In fact, we've got a couple of 2-day trips on the Amigo in September and October that I think are going to be barn burners. I held out on about 4 spots for you, and I'll be announcing those in about a week or so. So keep tuned in here to the morning briefing, and we'll get you on one of those trips with one of those final great spots available for you all. And the producer, our dear friend Jolene Thompson, and all the ladies were out there. They had 20 bluefin tuna, and they also fished the islands and had a variety of other species, halibut and bass, and all kinds of other stuff. But the ladies did fantastic. And more than anything, Jolene said, we just had a really special, wonderful, lovely time together. And so, Jolene, good morning to you. You are a special friend. Jolene's going to be on the Horizon trip on August the 15th, so I'll be looking forward to giving my friend a big hug. Good going there. Amigo, 2-day trip, 22nd Street Landing. Nice hit for them with 21 bluefin, but the grade of BFT on this one, Captain Mark Paisano said 80 to 110 pound fish. Nice hit for them. They also had 29 Dorado to go along with it and a few yellowtails, so nice going indeed. Nice spread. And we've already heard, I was talking to one sport boat out of San Diego. He said there's been a few guys who are already limited out on Dorado here this morning. And, you know, it's not that long after daybreak here, so that is some really good fishing. That flathead starting to bite with greater frequency, starting to turn on. Most of it is like, I want to say 8 to 15 pounds. There's some bigger fish and even some smaller fish in there, but quite a bit of Dorado now in the picture, and that is fantastic news. Now we take a look at the island situation. We'll start you down in the Coronado Islands, where the full day boat San Diego out of Seaforth Sport Fishing had a private charter, and those guys said, let's go do the island thing. They ended up with 41 yellowtail at the Coronado Islands. So there is nothing wrong with that kind of fishing. And then, you know, picking away at the barracuda bass and all kinds of other stuff there at the islands. That bite has been pretty darn good at the Coronado Islands. I should bounce you south of the border since I skipped over that already. I kind of mentioned they're on the Dorado now, catching a few yellowfin tuna. There's still a few bluefin, but their local bite and island bite at Todos Santos has been really good with barracuda and yellowtail and sand and calico bass and rockfish. It has been really excellent fishing south of the border down in that neck of the woods. At San Clemente Island, there's quite a bit of yellowtail. And Angel Ramirez, good job, nice catch. We saw him on the intro. He was stoked about it. And the boys over there, Angel and his friends, had some good yellow fishing at SCI. And there's also quite a bit of calico bass there and plenty of rockfish. You want to take part in that. At Catalina Island, picking a few yellows here and there, a few barracuda, that kind of stuff. But many of the full day boats now are looking for flatheads on kelps. I know the Gale Force is doing that. Pursuit might be doing that. Guys down there out of Davies Locker are apt to be looking offshore. You remember just the other day, the half-day boat out of Dana War Sport Fishing saw that little school of Dorado and caught one. So those guys are starting to look at that instead of cat. At cat, you can pick away, but it hasn't been really that wide open. And then the Channel Island region, a few sea bass up there yesterday, but I'm expecting an explosion now. And the reason why is because this weather is gorgeous. It's come down. They had all kinds of wind problems up in that neck of the woods. There's still squid there. That is the magnet that draws those sea bass in there. And those halibut, I should say. There's been some excellent halibut fishing also. So those are all things to keep in mind. Local fishing, I told you about Ensenada. That's been good. San Diego, wow, that calico bass bite down there this year has been phenomenal. It's still very, very good. Remember, on fishing sand and calico bass, you just drop that fluorocarbon down to 12 or 15, and you'll be catching bass all day long. It really is the dividing line between catching and not catching. If you combine it with choosing a really good hot bait and changing that bait regularly, you'll be all over it. A lot of this sand bass that's been caught here in the Long Beach, San Pedro area has been dropper loop fishing with an anchovy, and man, you're bit all day long if you're fishing 15 pound. And that's plenty of pulling power on these fish. Now, if they're eating the 20 pound, 25 pound, that's a little heavy on the bass, but if they're eating it, you can fish it. But remember, drop down, choose a hot bait. That gives you a huge advantage for sure. Dana Wharf, we're seeing good bass fishing there. Up out of Redondo Marina del Rey, a little bit of bass up there. Rockfish, plenty of that to go around. And then we get you up into the Channel Islands, and they have a little bit of bass, barracuda, halibut on the local scene. Some days are really, really good, and they always have the fallback, which is copious. It's been a long time since I've said that, isn't it? Copious amounts of colorful and great eating rockfish up there in the Channel Islands. So keep that in mind. Now, once again here, we had a tremendous amount of boat pressure on this bass. And I'm talking San Pedro, Long Beach area, as well as everywhere else. It's August and it's a weekend and sport fishing is great. So you're going to get a lot of boats, and that puts a lot of pressure on the bite. I suspect this is going to come roaring back with even better fishing. The Sport King, they ended up out of LA Harbor sport fishing with limits of sand and calico bass, few barracuda to go along with it. The Monte Carlo, with all that boat pressure and a heavy load yesterday morning, fish scoping in the afternoon. They had a good pick at the calico bass. City of Long Beach with some scoping, sand bass, and calico bass. Enterprise with bass fishing, pretty darn good also. But here today, Monday and Tuesday, during the week, I suspect those counts are going to go up. You'll go back to limits of bass on many of the boats. Remember, light line is your friend for sure. Channel Islands, great rock fishing up there and beyond. Up there at Santa Barbara Sea Landing, Stardust doing really, really well up there. The Sea Angler doing really, really well. So we continue to see really great fishing. My guys are down here catching all kinds of nice yellowfin croaker, spotfin croaker, and corvina. I see them right up there. I went up and talked to them, and they're having some nice fishing. So the surf is really good right now for corvina fishing. And of course, fishing those corvina with light line, like 6-pound, a trout rod will work just fine. Anticipating the direction they're moving in, so you can sight see these fish, and they're right there in the shallows. In fact, see where those waves are breaking right there? Watch this wave break right there. That's where the corvina are. You can catch them on low tide. Also, they bite just fine. And remember, you can get all the bait you need at Big Fish Bait and Tackle, my favorite surf fishing store in Southern California, and that's in Seal Beach, California. Make sure you drop by and say hi to everybody there. So once again, some really good surf fishing from San Diego all the way up into the Channel Islands. Water's warm now, not that much barred perch, occasional barred perch, but mostly yellowfin croaker, some halibut, and we mentioned the spotfin croaker love to bite on bait. That's going quite well right now. All right, couple trips coming up. You can join us. Don't forget that. We'd love to have you on board with us. And of course, the Dorado already biting here on Monday morning. That's great news. We'll be continuing to watch that for you very closely. Thanks for helping us to put our hands across the border and help our dear friends in Mexico Lindo. And once again, tick the like button, share these videos with a friend. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, tick the bell. You'll be notified of new content. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're there for you 24/7. As always, it's a great way to start my morning with each and every one of you. I deeply appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend a little moment with me here on Monday morning. I'll be here all day long, keeping you in touch with the very latest. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon. Have a great day, my friends.